I woke up this morning and I saw that Donnie was going to announce a trade deal with the UK, and I thought, well, I bet that doesn't amount to a whole lot, and I was right. Now the details are pretty sketchy because everything that comes out of the White House is pretty sketchy on details and following the law and all that other stuff. But regardless, what we do know is this trade deal really doesn't amount to a whole lot. First of all, we have a trade surplus with the UK. It's one of the few countries that we do. So if you're going by the Donald Trump school of economics, where trade deficits are bad and people are ripping us off, the UK was actually doing really well by us. So I don't know why we started with them. Uh, Second, when you actually look at the details of this plan, I mean, it does some things, I guess. We're going to both be able to import and export duty free 13,000 metric tons of beef, which, I mean, okay, we get British beef, they get American beef of the same amount. So, okay. They're going to get rid of the tariffs on steel and aluminum back and forth. And that is cool until you realize like the UK is only about 7% of total US steel imports. So it's such a tiny little drop in the market. Great for the UK. Doesn't really matter much to us, isn't going to really affect our prices. And then you get to automobiles, which is the number one thing that the UK exports to the US. And by the way, I don't see anything about US cars in being imported into the UK getting some sort of break. But the British are getting a break importing their cars into the US. I think it's 100,000 are going to be able to come in at a 10% tariff instead of the current 27.5% tariff. And that sounds like a win for the UK and for American consumers until you realize under Joe Biden that tariff was 2.5%. And 2.5% is less than 10% every day of the week. And let's also be real. These are British cars, and I'm not knocking the British auto industry. This is not that kind of joke. It's that other than the Mini Cooper, there's just not a lot of cars that most Americans are going to be able to afford. I mean, sure, Jags are nice, Bentleys are nice, Aston Martins are nice, but that is not exactly the Toyota Corollas of the world that are going to impact most of our budgets. So the fact that you can get them a little cheaper than you could have maybe a day ago, that's fantastic. But really, has that been worth all this drama about so that some rich person can buy an Aston Martin slightly less expensive than they could yesterday, but definitely more expensive than they did last year? I don't know. Seems kind of crazy to me. I don't think this has a whole lot of impact, but I could be wrong. All I can say is that's the 2 minute truth as far as I know it.